Hey guys, Butler Bulldog Bill here once again. This video is a little different, not about Butler this time. Just want to go ahead and give you some impressions, talk about, I was at the Big Ten tournament yesterday, Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. It was quarterfinal Friday, and always wanted to go to the quarterfinals and watch all 4 games, and I was able to accomplish that. Wanted to see the top 8 teams in the Big Ten. Wrench got thrown into the plans because Illinois upset Iowa in the second round, and Nebraska upset Wisconsin in the second round. So no Wisconsin, no Iowa. I ended up having to watch Nebraska and Illinois instead, which kind of stunk. First game, Indiana with the buzzer-beating loss to Michigan. Then we got to watch the other 3 games. There was Purdue against Illinois. Purdue murdered them. Then there was Michigan State and Ohio State. Michigan State murdered them. And then we closed off the day with Maryland and Nebraska. Maryland, was murdering them, and then kind of slacked off, kind of took it easy, pulled some of the starters, and Nebraska actually cut it down to 6 with 1.5 minutes to go. It had a chance to really make it interesting, but kind of got called for a silly foul, and it ruined all the momentum they had, and Maryland was able to close them out from that point forward. But got this kind of neat shirt there. It's got all 14 teams like in ticket form. So it was really cool to be able to go there and see all the, here's one of the tickets from the event. But we sat in the balcony. This is the cheapest seats that you could get there, but it's still really good views at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. It doesn't really matter where you sit, it's going to be pretty good. Such a great host of the tournament, such a great city to host sporting events. If you've never been, usually Bankers Life Fieldhouse or Lucas Oil Stadium obviously are going to be your hosts for sporting events like that, whether it be the Final Four, the Big Ten tournament, the Super Bowl. But everything is right there. Hotels, restaurants, you don't really have to go very far, so you don't have to worry about getting lost. Like I said, everything's pretty much within walking distance. Such a great city for events like that. And I know a lot of other fans that come from out of state say the exact same thing. College basketball analysts definitely say that as well. Of the 14 Big Ten teams, we've got to see 13 of those teams' fans there. The only fans I didn't see were Rutgers fans. And they may not have been wearing the Rutgers stuff because they were too ashamed to do so, which I can't blame them if that's the case. Wish I could have seen some Rutgers fans there, but weren't there. Saw a handful of Minnesota, a handful of Wisconsin fans remaining. Both their teams have been knocked out by that point, so that was cool to see. A lot of Iowa fans hung around to watch the rest of the tournament despite being upset in the second round by Illinois, so got to give them props for that. The Maryland fans, I gained a lot of respect for them over the day yesterday. There were a lot more Maryland fans there than I thought. I didn't know if they would make the trip. They had a good team, but I just wasn't sure of it. But man, they did. There's quite a few of them there, and I got to give them props because they're a very passionate fan base. They love their basketball team, and I think that's what helps them fit in so well with the Big Ten, a very basketball loving conference. Some great teams and traditional powers in it. So a welcoming addition to the Big Ten. Love seeing them all there. Some great people. Some crazy passionate fans. I know one guy, a middle-aged guy that was sitting near me in the balcony there. He was wearing Maryland state flag pants, and I think they work for Maryland basketball games, but if you try to wear those anyplace else, I don't think it's not going to be not a good thing to do. Those things are kind of hideous, so it only works for Maryland basketball games. But, fans very respectful of one another. I didn't hear anybody putting anybody else down. They were, holding doors open for each other, taking pictures. If people wanted to get a picture in front of the Big Ten logo there, or in front of whatever, the court, the banners of all the teams, whatever. A lot of very generous people there, and I think that's great. Another thing I took away from it, Indiana had the largest fan contingent there. No surprise there, obviously, since Bloomington's the closest Big Ten city to Indianapolis, and Indiana has a lot of alumni in the Indianapolis area. However, the loudest crowd there was actually the Michigan State fans. They were really loud, and obviously not as big in numbers, but they were a very loud fan base, so I got to give them props for that. Definitely the largest out-of-state contingent in Indianapolis. Ohio State had quite a few fans. Like I said, Maryland had quite a few. I'm sure before some of the Iowa fans went home, they had quite a few there too. And like I said, quite a few of them stayed around as well. But yeah, it was even though there was basically three blowouts, and my wife's team, Indiana, got beat on a buzzer beater. Still a great event. Still loved it. Can't believe it's not going to be back in Indianapolis for another 4 years. Hate that it's going to Washington, D.C. next year, and then to New York City the following year, and then it goes back to Chicago in 2019. I'm okay with an alternating, Big Ten tournament going to Chicago and Indianapolis and back to Chicago, back to Indianapolis, but I don't like this whole going out to Washington, D.C., which I feel like is ACC territory, or New York City, which is Big East territory. So keep it in its roots, the Midwest, Indianapolis, Chicago. I feel like Indianapolis does it better, especially based on what everybody else has said. So we're the home of basketball, and it needs to stay in the home of basketball. But if you guys went to the Big Ten tournament, if you have any thoughts about any of that stuff, if you're fans of one of those teams, hit me up, leave some comments. Love to know what your experience was, or what you take from all of this. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one.